Hey everyone, welcome to another podcast episode of Cleaning and Cocktails. You know the deal. I bring on guests from the cleaning industry to share their story and just talk shop with me on the podcast. Today, I have some friends, I have some peers, I have some rock stars, a husband and wife duo out of Phoenix, Arizona. I got Marci and Carlos from Keepers Commercial Cleaning. They launched this business in 2008. We've known each other for a few years. So I've been excited to bring this on because I love your guys' motto. I love the business that you guys have built. And you guys know me. I'm a family business owner. So what gave you two the idea to start this company?
Yeah, originally it was Carlos's idea. So he was doing at the time commercial insurance. I was working at a dental office as an office manager, and the economy started to hit, especially for construction companies, which was mostly his clients. And so as we saw his income started to dip and drop quite significantly, he's like, okay, we got to do something here. We got to figure something out. We had a young family. At the time, we had two little kids. I was expecting our third. And he's like, something's got to change here. We got to figure this out. And he came to me and he's like, let's start a business. And I was like, we don't have any capital. And he's like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And he's like, let's start a import leather business. Let's start a pizza business. And then all these different ideas. And then he's like, let's start a cleaning business. And I was like, and he said, I cleaned in college. I helped my parents clean when I was younger. We can do this. And I was like, that's a crazy idea. That will never work. Anyway, fast forward like 6 months of just keep the same thing, like our income decreasing and options limiting. And my thing was like, we don't have any money to start a business. And he's like, we have a vacuum. I can do this. And so finally I was like, okay, let's dive in. And so we stayed at our current jobs, working full time, and then Carlos would start any spare moment that he could knocking on doors. So barely starting getting a handful of customers. I was taking care of a newborn at night. He would go out and clean, and that's how we started. We just one little customer at a time, Carlos going out hustling, knocking on doors. And in the beginning, it got to a point where we had a handful of customers, and he was still doing all the cleaning. So he would clean till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, wake up and do insurance. And that was like a 9-month stretch where he was getting like a couple hours of sleep because he was just running all the time. And finally I was like, we gotta stop. Like, you can't keep doing this. You're going to run yourself to the ground. And so we slowly started hiring crews to be able to take over those accounts. Over time, we started to, we were getting busy enough in the business that we left our full-time jobs and dove all into the business. But that was our start from the very beginning. It was his idea, and he was the one out hustling, knocking on doors every day to get it started and to start the business.
Such similar stories to me and my wife, you guys. Here's one thing, again, listening to what you guys were just saying. I feel like I want to ask some questions and get some more context, Marci and Carlos, on I didn't have kids when I first started, right? So when me and Marley started, we were able to sacrifice more so, right? Like at all hours of the night, at all days of the day, cleaning. You got a baby to take care of at home. And Carlos, I wanted you to talk to me about you're out there selling, trying to win business while Marci's at home, helping with the
it's
family.
Three babies.
3, not just 2, 3. Yeah, I mean 1.
3 at home.
Shit, that's even more. So, but talk to me about that dynamic, you guys, because I have a lot of people that I talk to. They'll ask me like, Rick, how did you do it in the beginning, with the family? And I'm like, man, I can't answer that because I didn't have kids. It was just us two. So I didn't have that responsibility where here's a perfect explanation on, let's hear it from you guys. Like, how did that dynamic work early on when Carlos, she's at home with the kids, but then you guys are flipping roles. Like, talk through those first couple of years of having to juggle all that.
Yeah, no, I mean it was really difficult. Really difficult at the beginning because basically you just have to hustle, hustle, hustle. And you don't know how you're going to get rewarded. You just know that if you take action, there's going to be some reaction. If we take very little action, there's not going to be a lot of reaction. So the craziness of all is that we just have to keep on doing it. So in 2008, as I would go out there, even though here it's really hot in the summer, or and whatever it is, it doesn't matter the climate or whatever, people knocking, people slamming the door on you kind of per se, saying, hey, we're not interested, we don't, no solicitation. It's like, no, you just go in there. Yeah, it's like you go in there and you're just basically finding needles in a haystack, but there are lots of needles in that haystack. We just need to do our part and just look and knock on doors and make the phone calls and send out the emails. And that's basically how we got started because we didn't have any money to really pay for other people to do the telemarketing or other people to do like emails and stuff like that. So essentially, it was basically us. So I would go out there, I'd have a schedule, I'd go out there. This is after I had left the whole insurance thing, and then I would go out there during the day and basically knock on doors. And quick question as I walked in, hey, my name is Carlos. I own a small cleaning business here in the Valley. I would love the opportunity to be able to provide a proposal, an obligation proposal for the cleaning of your office. Is this something you're interested? And out of 10, maybe one or two would say yes, but that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with numbers. So as the more people say no, you're going to get a yes. And somehow, and this is just summarizing things really lightly, but somehow when you're hustling like that, you got to make it fun in some way.
Yeah.
Make it fun, make it like a game, but just know that, yeah, you're going to get some people that will say yes, because a lot of people admire that. A lot of people are looking for opportunities. They're not happy. We understand that in this business, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't happy with the current cleaning services. So our goal is to find those people. And if we don't have, like I said, the funds to hire these companies to find those appointments, we need to hustle and hustle and hustle and ourselves find that. So that would be that's basically how it got started in the beginning. And then little by little, as we grew more and more and more and more, you just got to always stay hungry. And Marci, home with the kids, 3 kids, that's a big, huge why. That's a huge, huge why to make something out of this, because you're trying to make an income, not just any income, but you want to make a good income. You want to take them on vacation. You want to do this. You have dreams and this and this. You want to help others, etc. You got to have your why. And I remember many years I had a little tiny picture of my family there on my dash there on my car with my wife and my 3 little kids and stuff like that. And for me, when I was really tired, when I didn't want to knock on any more doors or whatever, I would just continue to just do it. Even if you don't want to do it, you got to do it. And because really, there's no one really pushing you out the door, and that's
Yeah.
something about entrepreneurism. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be successful, you got to just put forth the work, because really no one's going to do it for you unless at some point you have the funds and you can motivate people, and then they're selling for you. And fortunately, we're in that position today where we do have people that can go outside and they're hustling and they're making appointments for us and all this and that. But at first, for your viewers who are maybe getting started, we got to make it happen. And we're the ones to make it happen and find that why. Obviously, I cannot say any of this without giving glory to God, because we're very faith-based people, and my faith is very, very important in what we've been doing. So there's family, but there's also faith, and God has been great to us, and we feel like if we do our part and we push forward and we're hustling and we're doing it in an honest way, in a way of integrity, we feel like he'll do his part and he'll bless us with more accounts or better systems or better processes, and allow us to have the wisdom to be able to create something bigger. Because at the end, God does want us to build something. He wants us to
Yeah.
build something that would allow us to help other people. You see?
Well, yeah, and Carlos, and that leads me to, but Marci, I'm going to come to you real quick here, but you just said it, building. I feel like an entrepreneur to me holds a single entity. They're building a single business. Builders, as to what you just said, we're building not just a company, but a legacy, a community, a team, a brand, right? So I love that you said the word builders. But I want to jump back to you, Marci, real quick, and because I have a lot of women owners right now that they'll ask questions and how do I start a company when I have kids and I'm a single parent or my husband has a full-time job. And I want to talk about the couple of years again, and then I'm going to get to the next part. But the first couple of years, Carlos is out there hustling, you're hustling, but trust me, I got 2 kids. That's a lot of work. They own my life. You got 3. Like, how was that the first couple of years of knowing that you've got all this on your plate and these ambitions that you're trying to do, live through? How was it raising the kids, knowing you're trying to build a company?
Like Carl said, I don't know what other word to say besides just tough, really tough. It was a lot of nights. It was a lot of people talk about, oh, I need, downtime and I need, like, that didn't exist. Like it was just go. You just go. I mean, I knew that he was gone a lot because it's a 24/7 business, especially at the beginning. You're the supervisor, you're the operations manager, you're doing everything, and he was gone. And so I knew that the rest of it was on me. And so, like, I would do things that normally, he would do if he was there, but I know he wouldn't. So I'm mowing the lawn and I'm, doing those things because I know that he doesn't have time and I've got to do my part. And so we did try and involve our kids. Like, sometimes he would go out at night and put business cards in different business complexes, and you would take the kids. All right, guys, you guys do these, I'll do these, and we'll, and if we asked the kids, they went out, and sometimes I'm like, I need an hour. Can you just take them? And so he would go supervise, and they're like, all right, kids, come on, we're gonna go inspect this building, and you got to include them because there's no other option. Like, you just do it and do it with them. I mean, I would have them, like, I was still working, and so they would fold different statements that I was sending out for the dental company that I was working for, and just get them involved because I think they appreciate later on what you did because they know the sacrifice it took. Sometimes at the beginning we would go on vacation, which I put in quotes because Carlos was on the phone the entire time. And so it was like, why are we even going somewhere if we're just going to be working the whole time? Like, what's the point?
Hold on. I'm going to say, Marley, my wife, if you're listening, you see, I'm not the only one. Carlos is doing it too. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, it's gotten better. It's gotten better. We can actually go on vacation and not get so many calls now. But at the beginning, it was like,
well, you have to have a passion for taking care of your customers,
Yeah.
And that's our true. That's, for me, it's all about quality and taking really good care of the customer. So if I were to go to sleep at 2 or 3 in the morning, but I got a phone call at 8 o'clock in the morning with a customer saying, hey, you missed this trash can or whatever it is, I would answer my phone because that's just the nature of me. I want to make sure that, and that's something that your viewers need to understand. That it's not just about getting accounts, but taking really good care of your accounts, like making them, almost wowing them to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm going to stay with this guy, not just because he came in and gave me a good pricing, but also because if I call him, if I email him, if I email his organization or whatever, we are going to take care of it right away. And it's going to be taken care of. And that, because we understand in the cleaning business, we're going to make mistakes. We're humans, we're imperfect, we're going to make mistakes. But if they realize, hey, these people have my back, they're worried about me. If I have a concern, they're going to be there for me. I always tell the team here, I love Costco. I love to shop at Costco. And many times I say, hey guys, it's the Costco approach. Costco, you take anything back and you say, hey, I'm not happy with this. No questions asked. They give you a refund. They give you the product back, or they say, hey, here's your money. And that's the effect that we want on our customers too, to make sure that they're appreciated, that we're going to do the best we can. And if we mess up, we're gonna make it right.
Well, think about it, you guys. Like, we talked about this many times. Like, it costs what, 3-4 times more to get new customers than it is to retain. Like, you've got a contract, retain that contract. Take care of your customer. So one thing I want to ask again, because it's you two, it's husband and wife. You guys are probably best friends and partners, right? Like me and my wife. What's one tip or shared experience or advice you'd give to another husband and wife team or family team that when things were going rough, when things were tough, that you guys said to each other, or what you used to motivate and pick each other up? Because more times than less times, it's difficult. And it's always difficult. It never changes. Like, you guys have grown a massive size company now, right? Like, you're still dealing with things that you probably dealt with in the beginning. Give us some shared experience of how you pick each other up as a family, husband and wife team.
So one thing that I would say, as Marci perhaps thinks about what she's going to say, but I've got to say things quickly, otherwise I'll forget. But but one of the things is that Marci is a wonderful not only she's my wife, but in all these years, like sometimes I would get home and say, hey, we're making no money, like very little money. And it was very frustrating. You have a lot of no's. Again, remember, like we built this from zero, scratch. Nothing was handed to us. It was like one client at a time. We didn't buy into anything. So sometimes, I would tell her just really, really depressed, negative. I would say, Marci, man, is there something else that I could do? Like, because sometimes I would want to throw in the towel, but like just kind of not so serious, but like I was just looking for her to see what she would say, and never once. And obviously now we've had our business for 16 years, but in all the 16 years that we've had our business, she's never said, yeah, go quit. You can find a better job doing this and that. I mean, I have my bachelor's degree from a good university and stuff like that. So I could have gone and worked for somebody else. But when you have a dream, when you have a why, and you know that this can happen, but even though you've got this big dream or whatever, like you're going to get put through the furnace. We got to be refined. And sometimes, we come to her and say, hey, this, and this. And I was mostly just venting, but never did she ever say, okay, go ahead and quit. Yeah, you're right. Maybe we can find some other jobs, because she has a degree too. And, whatever. But never has she ever said, quit that. In fact, it's completely the opposite. We're there, we're pushing forward. We just got to put one foot at a time, be positive. Thanks to her for all the humongous support in that.
I think for me, Carlos, it was the one with the dream that started this. So even when things get hard, I know that I want to support his dream, and I want to support him in the things that he wants to do and the things that he wants to accomplish. And so if I come and say like, oh my gosh, this issue today and this, he's always to be one to say like, you know what, it's fine. Like we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. And so even though we have different roles and we do different things, just being there to support and back up. And I think, a lot of people say like, oh, I could never work with my spouse. I could never do that. And to me, I think it strengthened our relationship and our marriage, because we understand, like we never have to go home and be like, we still ask like, how was your day? But we know what's going on in the business together. Like we're never like blind to what's going on in the business. And so there's that shared understanding, and you are able to do things together and accomplish things. And it just is a huge sense of satisfaction to be able to grow this together as partners, as husband and wife, as a family, and to know that hopefully the impact that our kids are seeing, that you can do things together as a family. And I think sometimes better than just if you were, partners.
And here's something that I would add, that was something that in the beginning, like sometimes it's just natural that you bring certain frustrations home. Like something didn't go right, too many no's, you didn't have a lot of success that day, or this client fired you and he had just hired you 3 days ago, whatever it is, just stuff that happens. And sometimes I would come home and I would have that load on my back, and I would make the mistake to perhaps my family would feel it, It's not a good thing. So anybody who is listening, and it's a lot easier said than done, but keep what is work outside of your home. Like make your home, you're not bringing in that, And obviously some people, and that's the thing, like with us, our office was inside our home. After a time, like say after dinner, after 5, after 6, try and do your very best to put on your hat, to be a husband, to be a father. Because, the kids they don't need to have that stress on them, even though you're stressed, things aren't going well, you're not able to pay this or whatever it is, money's really tight. Make it where they're not feeling that. I mean, they can sense it already, but it's not good when you're losing your temper and stuff like that. And I'm not one to lose my temper like and start really going crazy. No, but I've learned over the years that I need to put business here, and when I'm home, I'm a very loving father, loving husband, because that's what they deserve, and that's what really is going to edify us. And at the end of the day, the family is more important than anything,
And really, at the end of the day, that's why you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
You're building this business for them, to be able to go home, spend time together, go on vacations and things. And so that just puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
No, man, you bring up a great point. Like my wife has been staying at home for a few years now, right? So she knows what's going on. because I mean I got like 24 family members in the business, so all we do is talk about work, but in a good way. But I'll tell you, Carlos, when you said I felt like checking at the door, right? Leave business at the door. And you know what she told me that's been working? She's like, Rick, I know when you get to the driveway. I know when the garage door opens. And her number one thing, you guys, her ask is like, hey, Rick, do me a favor. Like, answer that last email in the car, right? Pick up that last phone call in the car. When you get in the garage and come in our door, it's over. Give me the first 2 hours. Give us and the boys the first 2 hours. And I'm not kidding you. When I come in and I come in on the phone or on like, you know, she makes fun of me. I'm always like this. And she's like, go back out. I was like, what? What happened? She's like, just turn back around. Go back out. Because our kitchen's right by the garage door. I'm like, babe, I'm almost done. She's like, turn back around. And I'm in a habit now. Dude, before I get in, I'm doing the last message. Because I know that's what she expects. So
Yeah.
I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. Like, yes, it's a family business, but family's family. Like my son now is 5 and he is very aware when daddy's upset. And like, hey, dad, do you have a hard day? Do you have a tough day at work today? I'm like, I'll catch myself, you guys. I shit you not. I'm like almost vent to them. I'm like, you know what, Nico, dude, this guy didn't answer the phone, and and I'm like, wait a minute, he's 5 years old. He doesn't need to hear all this. Question for you guys now, because I know I've gotten to know you all, and I see and I respect how you do take the time to spend with your family. You guys go on vacations. You guys are always out and about. Talk to us about now. The kids are growing up, right? Some of them I think are going away to college or they're graduating high school. I mean, and we're going to talk about the meat and potatoes, the journey still, but like where the kids are at now. How fun is it for you to know that you can leave for a week? You can go. I think you guys traveled across the country last year. You do some international trips. Talk to us as being business owners doing family international trips.
It's a ton of fun, guys. I mean, I'd be lying if it's not. But for the past few years, we've taken a month off and we've gone to Europe actually. And like a couple of years ago, it's awesome to be able to go to a few countries. We've got a trip coming up here in about 2-3 months in July, where we're going to visit a lot of the countries up in Scandinavia. In fact, all of the countries in Scandinavia, and then we're going to go down to do an Eastern Mediterranean cruise. So those things are really exciting. The kids love them. It's a really good time for us to bond together. But my kids, because they're older and they've seen many of the struggles and that it's not easy and etc. And it's not all bad. Like obviously it's a hustle. They were equally as happy when we would take trips to Utah to visit family, or when we went to San Francisco to see San Francisco. Or we have California really close by when we would go to the beach there. They love that as well. We would go in a vehicle and, we would pack our Honda Pilots up and just take those trips, and they were really happy. Now we go across the ocean and go to new places, and it's a great time. But, it's amazing to be able to spend time together with them.
And I would say too, it's amazing, like Carlos said, to be able to do, a little bit bigger, a little bit longer trips. But we've done that ever since the beginning. Even if it was just like one night, 2 hours away, something where we have that separation of time. And again, we've been able to put things in place. And really what helped with that was just like you've done, going home, setting boundaries. It's, I think, really important to establish those boundaries. That was one thing that maybe we didn't do very well at the beginning, and where things started to bleed in, and like there was no separate, because our business was out of our home, we were working in home and working, it was just, there's never a stopping point. And so I think if we could do it better or give any advice, it would be, there's always going to be stuff to do in the business. It never stops. Now, even now, like we have lists of things that we need to get done and things that we're working on. But if you don't take that time to just stop and separate, then that turns into, overwhelm and burnout and frustration. And so your business is always going to have things to work on. And yeah, you got to hustle and put the time in, but you've also got to set those boundaries and take time and step away and be with your family and get that downtime.
Yeah, no. And I would just add, like, there's vacations for all kinds of budgets, And even like Marci says, even when you can't take a vacation here, because the kids, here's the thing, and that's if your audience, many of them I'm sure have kids, some don't have kids, but those who have kids grow up like little weeds, And by the time like we have a 19-year-old, he's out and he's in Colombia now. He's a missionary now, so he's gone basically, and we've got a daughter here in 6 months is going to go out to college. You know, they grow up so quickly. Find something that within your budget that you can do with them. Like way back in the day, like we would just get a zoo pass for the Phoenix Zoo that would cost us like $100 for the whole year to go. So every Saturday we would go to the zoo and they would see, you know, the tiger and this and whatever animal, and they just loved it, you know. But make it something really important to hang out with the kids because they grow up so quickly, and you want to create those memories.
No, man, 100%. I couldn't agree with you guys more. Like I said, I want to go back into the meat and potatoes. There's always that moment, right? But like, when did you two realize, I know it was Carlos's idea, right? But can't do it without Marci. This is a two-man game right here, right? Or a two-person game. But Marci and Carlos, talk to me about the moment you guys looked at each other and you said, you know what? I think we made a good decision, and this business has legs. This industry is going to be good for us. Like, it may not be just a moment, but like, what's a period that you said we're in the right place?
I mean, it's been from the beginning. You have this dream, and it's almost, I think I compare it to, I never used to be a runner, like a runner. Marcy, she's always been a runner. She likes to exercise and run. I couldn't run not even a mile. But once I said, you know what, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna get to 1 mile. And then I accomplished 1 mile. Maybe now I can run 2 miles. And now maybe all of a sudden, let's get into this 10K. And then you accomplish the 10K and you said, you know what, I accomplished the 10K. Now I'm going to run a half marathon. And I did 3 miles and now 6 miles. And now all of a sudden I finished that. I think in business it's very similar. When you're in business and you're going along, there's going to be people that come out of nowhere that they're going to support you. Like, I'll never forget this lady who I met, who I quoted her business. And, this was way back in the beginning. And I didn't even tell her anything. And out of the blue, she said, Carlos, you know what? You have a great business. And she was in a different business. She was like advertising or something like that. And she said, Carlos, never give up, because here's the thing. I didn't make any money for so many years. And she's telling me this. I didn't tell her anything. And she said, I never made any money for so many years. And guess what? Somebody one day came to me and said, hey, I want to buy your business for millions of dollars. And she sold it, And when things were like going like a little hard, I would remember that. I said, you know what? If she could do it, why can't I do it? So it's a matter of just continuing. But going back to your question there, it's just a matter of there's just so much business out there. People don't want to clean their own offices. They don't want to clean their toilets. We're in a great business. This is a business that is growing tremendously over and over. So anybody who's in the cleaning business and you've got the hustle, you've got the work ethics, the opportunities are endless. Where do you want to end it? And I think God doesn't want us to end. He wants us to continue to grow something, because as we grow and as we fine tune things and He gives us that wisdom, as I had mentioned, this could be not only good for us, but think of all the people that through our company are benefiting in some way because, they have accounts to clean, and they're making certain income. And maybe perhaps it's not their own, the sole income, but this is an income that they have where they go out at night and they clean a few offices. And with that money, they can go on their vacations. They can do this. They can do some extra things. So
I think 2 things came to mind. One was the first time we were able to finally hire a full-time employee in the business. So we, we had contractors cleaning, and Carlos was managing the operations. But when we hired someone when we could afford a full-time person to help, I was like, oh my gosh, you mean at some point we don't have to be the ones like doing everything? Like that was a huge point. But also, the first time we went to a BSCI event, and I saw the potential that some of these business have, and we would meet people, and they were all super generous and kind and willing to share information, and they were at 6 million, 10 million, 20 million, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's possible. Like I think for Carlos, he had that vision way sooner than I did. But when I would meet people and just normal people, and I'm like, hey, if this guy can get to 6 million, like, maybe we could do that. Or if this guy can get to 10, like, who says we can't get there, And so the possibilities of opportunities, seeing what businesses could do, and that these were just normal people like us. And I caught the vision of the potential of this industry and what you can do and what that means for your family and what that means for the people that you're employing. That if we grow, how many more people can we impact? How many more people can we provide jobs with. So I think that for me was a point of looking at, wow, this is a great industry and a great business.
Well, also the beauty of this business is it's a recurring business. Like it's a recurring. You take that sell once, and if you're into cleaning for recurring, then every month you are invoicing that amount. You just have to take very good care of the clients. Like in other words, I have lots of friends who do other businesses, and it's like one sell, but I have to make that sell again, sell again, sell again, sell again, and they have great industries. But this is such a nice industry where you're basically building a pipeline. You are building a pipeline. You're not hauling buckets here. You are building a pipeline, and that pipeline will take some time to build. But once you have it built, you can turn on that water, and that water is going to flow as long as you want it to run, basically. So,
I mean, that's 100%, man. I love it. This is pandemic and recession proof, right? When people talk about this industry, like, Rick, what else are you trying to do? I'm like, I'm not trying to do anything else. Cleaning industry, this is where I'm at right now. This is everything that I'm doing. Two things, though, real quick. You touched on it, Marci. So congrats on you being on the BSCI, the board of directors, right? So, but what I want to start with is, let's go back, though. So when was the first time that you went to a BSCI event?
Probably 12 years ago. We had been in the business maybe 4 or 5 years. And that was our first event. And we went to the Contracting Success, which is the main annual event that they have in the fall. At least for me, I was just blown away by the content of the information. Almost even more than that is the networking possibilities of meeting other BSCs who were doing it way better and bigger than us, and their willingness to share information, help. We got connected with a peer group that was huge for our growth. And so being part of BSCI has been a huge part of our growth.
And think about it, you guys, went from 12 years ago, your first, because same thing, when I went to my first BSCI SSA, I was like, damn, there's big companies like this.
Yeah.
So again, congrats I know you two are a big part of the BSCI. So I pay homage to them because they've taught us so much. They've taught me so much. You now being on the board of directors, that's an accomplishment, right? You two together stand for something for us, the smaller contractor that's now growing, that shows everybody that, again, look at where you guys got to. But Carlos, you were going to say something.
No. I was just going to say, like, when we go to these events, it's important to make those connections, not just take a back seat, but rather go out there and talk, rub some shoulders, make new friends. They're more than willing to share their ideas with you. And don't be scared to ask questions. There's a famous saying that says, hey, if you ask, you'll get to Rome. Well, let's ask questions. How do we get to Rome? Well, then we need to ask, and we need to talk to people, not just to go, but also to ask questions. And even now that we're a certain size company, I always tell my team that when we go there, we need to go as if we're still the little company of 10, 12 years ago. Go hungry. And you can learn from the guy that just joined, and maybe he's doing some ideas that you can learn as well. Like, we can't just think, oh, we know it, or now we're this company. No, we have to always be willing to learn.
So Carlos, think about it. I mean, Marci, you guys know this best, right? We've talked many times on, actually here's the question for both of you first to then talk about that is, Carlos, what would you say is your biggest asset you bring to the team, to the company? And then Marci, same question. So we know from the dynamic of how you guys complement each other, like, what's your niche area? And then Marci, what's your niche area?
I would say mine would be organization, like having the organization of managing the team, leading the team. I lead the team meetings, so making sure that each role has specific KPIs, that we're measuring to those, that everyone's reporting every week on what they're doing, that we're just systemizing everything that we do so that it can scale. I would say that would be my biggest contribution.
Yes, and it's a huge contribution. Thank you. I would say, Ricky, that the biggest thing that I do is bring the vision, the vision of where we want to go. So Mount Everest is 32,000 feet, and we're on 1,000 feet. Well, that's where we're going, guys. I mean, we celebrate this, but we're going up there. Mm-hmm. We need to hustle. We need to take the action necessary. And I'm always on top of the salespeople saying, hey, guys, how did this go? How many quotes did we send out? How many did we land? and where can we find new areas or new opportunities. So I'm constantly daily in the hustle of touching the people who are out there, even like just saying, hey guys, here we are, where are we going? We got to take massive action, massive, massive, massive. If we want to accomplish these goals, this is the action that we need to take. And this year we want to be at this much. So every month we got to be here, here, here. Why didn't we reach that? And I bring it down to even daily, the daily action, the weekly action, the monthly action, the quarterly action. Where are we 6 months into the year? How are we moving closer to that goal? And not only this year, but what we build this year has to transpire into the next 5 years and then into the next 10 years and maybe even 20 years. But really, it's this year, 5 years, and 10 years.
So,
I would
man,
say too, maybe something that we do together well is help connect what our daily or weekly activities to is our big purpose and our big goals. So we want to serve people so that they can do what they love. Like, what does it mean for the contractor that you just called and said, hey, we're going to give you a $3,000 account? Like, what does that mean for their family? Like, connecting and making sure that people understand this isn't just sending invoices and doing inspections and making cold calls. This is impacting people's lives, and the things that we're doing are important because we're helping not only our customers to have a great place to work in, but we're providing jobs, which to me is a huge driver for me, that what we're doing matters because we're helping provide jobs for people.
yeah, so powerful stuff, guys. That was great answers. And I asked that question, and I'm sure you guys are going to appreciate this and add more value in a second here. But like what you just responded with was like 2 or 3 things of the organization, right? Marci's organization, operations. Carlos, you're talking about vision, sales. And I bring this up because, you know, a lot of the smaller contractors trying to grow to be mid-sized, even the mid trying to grow large. A lot of the times I'll hear is trust. I don't trust this person to do this. I don't trust that person to do this. I've got all this on my shoulder. You would think this is a cleaning business, right? That's what people will say. Oh man, Rick, oh, you own a cleaning company. Oh, that can't be that hard. And it's like, hold on. We got ops, we got HR, we got marketing, we got sales, we got leadership, we got technician skill sets, we got training. I could go on and on. We got about 20 different departments in our business, in our operations.
Yeah.
You guys just touched on 3 or 4. So how important has it been for your growth, if you could share, with trusting and bringing on other talent and team members to help you guys share the vision and grow?
One quote that I really like says that entrepreneurship is just an exercise in relinquishing control. At the beginning, especially I think for Carlos, because you know it was his vision, and so when had that first hire and he would send that person out to go do an inspection. At first I was thinking, what's the point? You are on the phone with them, FaceTiming them the entire time, because it's like, they can't mess up because this is my name on the line. This is my business. Like if he doesn't do his job, like it's going to look bad on me. And so letting go of someone else doing the job that you were just doing and trusting that they're going to do it is hard at the beginning because it's your baby, it's your name, it's your reputation. But I think if you put those expectations in place and you put the procedures in place so they know exactly this is how Carlos would do it and this is the process, I'm going to do it just that way. That is the only way that you're going to be able to scale, because you can't grow if you're doing everything yourself. You just can't get to the next level unless you relinquish that control, and that comes with trust. So I would say if you don't trust that person in that seat, what can you do to gain their trust? Or are they the person that you can trust? Or is there, like, what do you need to do either personally to be able to trust that person? Is it more training? Is it more time with them? Or is that person not going to be able to be trusted at some point? That would be what I would say for being able to, if you want to scale, you've got to trust your people that they're going to do the job, because you can't be everywhere at all times if you want to be able to grow.
Yeah, no, I would say before we would hire people that perhaps were not A type of the person, but more like a B or C because they were perhaps less money. But now we've realized that we want A+ players, and those people are going to demand more money, more pay, more income. Those A+ players will actually save you money because they do the job of 5 people.
Sometimes better than you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. So, please do the job better than me, please.
Yeah.
Please.
So obviously, I mean, earlier on, perhaps you won't be able to hire the A+, but then you're going to have to do a lot of the training, a lot of the babysitting.
I say
No,
hire for
100%.
the best person that you can afford as early as possible. Like invest, you might have to eat some of your own, investment or income or whatever that is, but the sooner that you can hire A+ players, it's going to take a load off of your shoulders.
No, yeah, Marci and Carlos, I sometimes have some questions in order, but you guys also help me think of new questions or new ideas. So you guys saying that just literally struck a chord. Again, I'm always learning, and I just learned from my co-founder Ricky over here at Route. Is he said something to me a couple weeks ago, and what you just said validated that. Is Rick, if we're going to hire A+ talent, we shouldn't have to tell them anything. Like they know already. They're actually we're learning from them in that role. The minute we're showing them and having to teach them and walk them through and do this and do that, we didn't hire an A+. We're now back in the seat of running that role. So to the point of what you guys are just saying, yeah, I mean, again, Carlos, right? Sometimes you can't afford that early on. It is what it is. You'll get there. You guys, as we get close to wrapping up, I got two more main things, and one of them I should have said in the beginning. So we talked about mindset. You guys, from what I'm taking in, I've learned who you guys are already beforehand. I'm learning more about you here on the episode. But it feels like you guys are faith-based, human-based leaders, right? So mindset, your mindset is that. Skill set, you kind of touched on the skill set. Carlos, you've got, your visionary, sales, leadership. Marci, a dose of leadership, operations, organizational mindset, or skill set as well. And I say that to the point of, the three things I feel are like pillars for us as business owners in building a business and a team is mindset, skill set, and what people always forget, I think, is tool set. Let's end with talking about the tools. Like, what tools have you guys embraced? So you've got the mindset, you got the skill set. What tools have you guys embraced and added to your toolkit and like your arsenal as you're building this legacy?
Here's the thing. This is our first go around to do this, but here's the beauty, guys. Like, if you want to grow, learn from other people's mistakes. And fortunately, even from the beginning, like I remember reading a book. And what does a book cost? Maybe $30, but you can read that book. And reading that book by a guy by the name of Dick Olick, and he was part of the BSEI. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
He passed away, unfortunately. But I read his book, and then at the end of the book it says, if you need help, call me or email me. So I called him, and then he became a consultant, but not a consultant like every week or every month or whatever. It was like whenever we needed help. And his fees were a little bit hefty, but what he taught us was so valuable. He was like an A+ player, but we needed that A+ once in a while. So we paid him, and we got all that wisdom that he had over like 40, 50 years, where he had created companies from scratch, then sold them for millions and millions of dollars. So sometimes we need to make that investment. So there's consultants out there. There's people nowadays. You have podcasts like this where you're learning, and it's for free. You can go on YouTube. I would say just constantly be learning, be in the habit of learning. Many years ago, I made the goal to, when I was going to go from here to an appointment or something like that, I was going to edify my drive. What am I going to learn? So you can put on something, a good book, and you're learning. And it's not just the cleaning business. It could be any other business, and you can take from that and basically adjust it to what you're creating. So I would say constantly learning, and, bring that good learning into you rather than perhaps wasting time doing some other things.
I 100% agree. I love books. I love podcasts. I love going to events. I love getting coached. One maybe just practical tool is when we first started, we were doing a lot of the things manually. So we would do a follow-up email, and then we would have to do that for everyone we send a proposal to, and then we would do and so automating some systems. At the beginning, we used a software we still use called Keep, just automating processes. So when Carlos sent an email, I would go in and tag it as proposal sent, and then they would get an email sequence, and I didn't have to touch it after that. Like, he would still do the phone calls, but it was set up to send an email once a week until we got a yes or a no, and that was happening in the background, and I didn't have to do it. After a couple of years, we started automating the onboarding process. So it doesn't have to be just for marketing. It can be for onboarding of customers. So as soon as they sign the proposal, they get a, thank you for signing. Here's the link to the final walkthrough. And then that goes through a series. And then once they do that, then it goes to accounting so that they can get the information of where to send the bills to. So like all these processes can be automated, and it will save you so much time and eliminate a lot of mistakes. Or, oh, I forgot to email that guy about that. Or, oh, I forgot to send that invoice. And, you know, you get a reminder email that says, this client signed up, where's their first invoice, you know? And so I would say that is one tool that really helped us to be able to create processes and save us time, and almost to the point where it saved us like a whole person that didn't have to be doing those individual manual tasks, but it's just happening in the background automatically. It does take time to set up and get started, but it will save you time once you get it all in place.
Nah, it's worth the time and investment. I couldn't agree more. I'm still learning that right now. I'm about to hire my first VA. I've been against VAs for so long, and I'm like, nope. Too many people say it works. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I got to do it. So as we wrap up, you guys, it's funny you said keep. I've been meaning to ask you all is like keepers. Where did the name Keepers come for your company? And if we could end with just some simple company stats, like, you know, number of employees, contractors, size of the business that you guys are today. Because remember, and you said it, Carlos, you started at zero. So I think it's important for everybody to know that, you know, over the years, the growth has happened and you're not done yet. You're continuing to grow. But first, Keepers. Where do Keepers come from?
So keepers came because back when I used to do insurance and I was really nervous, do I leave this business? It's a good business, but you know, things were going really kind of downhill there with the policies and stuff like that back in the Great Recession of 2007, 2008. And I had a good buddy who was actually a buddy of my father-in-law and a wonderful Puerto Rican friend of mine, that he was an older gentleman and he had a business called Almar Housekeepers. So him and I, we kind of got thinking and stuff. And I thought, well, he has Almar Housekeepers and he had it out of Dallas, Texas. And I thought, hey, well, how about Office Keepers? So we started Office Keepers. And initially that's what it was called, Office Keepers. But over time, we started cleaning industrial, schools, medical, and all that. And people would say, oh, you only do offices. So we took off the office and now it's just Keepers. So we're just Keepers.
As far as stats on the business, currently we clean 800 individual locations every month. Last year we hit 20 million. We're on track to hit about 27 this year. And we work with about over 150 different contractors. So expanding into other areas of Arizona this year and beyond. So we're excited for the future and the possibilities and really just helping our team grow and develop to be able to, again, provide great jobs for a lot of people.
Man, you guys just heard that. 20 going on 27. They started at zero. Again, I don't like to talk about numbers too much, you guys, but you have to. You've earned the right to talk about it. And I feel the industry needs to see what growth looks like in the potential, right? Is, again, husband and wife team started on their own to get to where you're at. I know Carlos has a big vision, right? Marci, you're like, shit, that's part of my vision too. But like, I admire the work you guys have done. You guys are the ideal example of what a husband and wife team, a family team should grow to be. When I see you two, I see you two. I never see one. I see both of you all the time. So that's awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Any last words of advice, wisdom, experience that you want to share to the Cleaning and Cocktails community?
If we can do it, anyone can do it. We're nothing special. We're not super smart. We just hustle, work hard, dive into our team. And so believe that it's possible and join BSCI. That would be my advice.
My last words of advice is just like Marci says, we're nothing really special. You just, like she said, we just got to work at it and it will happen. Keep on moving, keep on taking action. Reaction will happen. But the last thing I would say is during the Second World War, everything was against the English people, and the English people had chosen a guy by the name of Winston Churchill to be their leader, their prime minister. And all the Nazis had to do was bombard England and basically take it over. Everything was like almost to loss. But Winston Churchill, he believed that they could win this. And they did win it, obviously, with the help of the United States. But he basically said earlier on, even when the support wasn't there from the United States, he said, never give up, never give up, never give up. And that's my goal to you. Never give up. Keep on pressing forward.
Man, I got goosebumps. Just so you guys know, that badass accent that Carlos has, it's because he's from Venezuela. He's a fellow Latino, but he was raised in England. So When you said that, I was like, I forgot to ask about that. But anyways, guys, Carlos, that was great. Thank you, Marci. Always awesome to see you two together. I'm excited to see you guys in April. I'll be in Orlando for everybody out there, right? We got the BSCI Executive Management Conference that's going to be in Orlando. I believe it's Marci said April 25th, right? 25th
Yes.
to the 27th. All right. Well, I'll see you two there. Thank you for taking the time out on your busy schedule and joining us.
Thank you, man. Thank you for inviting us to this. We really admire what you're doing, all the help that you're giving to so many small business owners with their dream. And I've admired you for so many years, my friend, and just looking forward to this podcast and the outreach that it will have.
Likewise, we've been a fan for Ricky for a long time and admired all the things that he does and just the good heart that he has in wanting to help people. And so applaud everything that you're doing. Appreciate being a guest today, and thanks for having us on.
Everybody here at Cleaning and Cocktails, thank you for joining us. And until the next episode.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.